everyone! So today I will be talking about the Girl Meets World finale, or should I say Girl Meets Goodbye. I wanted to do this review just because I did a previous video on whether or not this show would be renewed or picked up by Netflix. And now I've heard that Netflix decided to pass on it, and so I think that only leaves maybe Hulu as a potential network to pick up Girl Meets World, but I don't think it's looking that good so far. So if you're a big Girl Meets World fan, your chances of being renewed, it doesn't look good. So I really want to talk about the ending because the writers did kind of have in mind that this could actually be the end. Now, I would hope that they don't get picked up, that somehow they can make a movie. I mean, we did that. They've done that before with some of the other shows that ended on Disney Channel, a couple movies. So I don't see why they couldn't do it with this one, maybe in the next year or in 4 years if the actors want to come back. So those are just my thoughts. I will keep you guys updated, but it's just not looking so good. The episode starts off with Riley potentially leaving. Topanga has an opportunity in London, and so the girls and their friends have to come to terms with Riley leaving far, far away and the gang never being the same afterwards. They go into class, and there's Corey finally has on the board Belgium of 1831. Now, if you know this series, you know that that's always been something that Farkle has always wanted to know, and yet Corey has always wanted it to wait until the end, and they just either someone's asked a question and he has to race off the board, and it just really always made him extremely mad and upset. And so this was the day that it was actually going to be addressed in class. Everyone's really gloom in the classroom, and eventually to talk about Belgium, how there was United Kingdom and Netherlands, and Belgium just decided to separate. And the girls want to know, did anyone still visit? Did anyone still talk to them? Because they're trying to relate that to if Riley moves, will they still have that friendship, or will their friendship die, which is something that they are seriously scared to think about. And so it's really interesting how the writers actually connected Belgium to Riley leaving, and maybe this is something that was always going to happen maybe in 2-3 years if they were still renewed. So maybe it's kind of smart that they did it this way. They also make a reference to how they had a third best friend, Carrie, but they never remembered her, or she wasn't part of the best friend circle anymore because she moved across the street. Meaning that if Riley moves millions or thousands of miles away to London, their friendship most likely won't last. Another reference that I saw was that Lucas was very sad that Riley is leaving. He's not ready for that, blah, blah, blah. As a Lucaya shipper, I'm not happy that the writers continue to push this storyline. I hope that there's another season so we can address that. I know some people are going to be like, no, they already made the ships final. Like, there was never a Maya and Lucas thing. But if you saw the seasons and if you see videos on YouTube, clearly there's more to that than the writers are leading on, but they just wanted to destroy the triangle because they knew that Maya and Lucas had more chemistry. So as a person watching it, I don't believe Lucas and Riley, but I do believe in their friendship for one another. Also, they made a reference to how Lucas and Zay left Texas to move there. And, you know, they had to leave something behind. So if they could do it, I mean, there was something more to look forward to. So maybe that the girls could survive this. And Riley says, well, I can understand why you love Texas. We had a great time. And all I could think about is, let's just back up what happened in Texas. Basically, Lucaya Nation was, like, born. And it was, like, shipping high. And it was sailing. I mean, those 2 episodes were all about, like, Maya's feelings for Lucas and that fire scene where they're, like, looking each other's eyes and the almost kiss. And actually, they filmed a real kiss, but Disney never showed it. So I just wish that we have another season, because saying things like that is, like, those scenes in Texas was primarily based on Maya and Lucas. So we're just not going to forget that. They continue on in the classroom saying how the United Kingdom of Netherlands eventually falls apart. And then Maya continues to say that it's always been Farkle who's wanted to know what happens to Belgium. He's always fought for us. He's always loved us. And she goes and kisses him on the cheek, and Farkle like faints. And then in the background you kind of see like Lucas and looking at it, not really like too happy about it, and I'm just imagining Lucaya like you should have been together. But can we just appreciate the Maya and Farkle scenes? Because I mean, when we started out this series, I mean, Farkle loved Riley and Maya completely equally and loved them so much and would do anything for them. And so to finally see that Maya has recognized how much Farkle means to them and to her, I was just almost in tears. So then we move on to their house, and Topanga has brought everyone that is important to her in the loft to make this decision for her. And that involves the original cast of Boy Meets World. So we have the parents, we have Eric, we have Sean, we have Feeny, which brings me to the scene where Feeny's sitting and then Eric moves and he's like doing like a Michael Jackson like walking backwards, and then he's like and he's like trying to say like, you know, obviously the Feeny call, and then he stops and he doesn't do it. He's like, I'm mad at you, and they go back and forth, and he's like, why don't I know anything then? So I really wish that he actually had said the whole Feeny call, but it's just to see the attempt and us waiting for the like, he was just like, oh my gosh, I literally almost lost it. And then there were their two Morgans. Obviously note that the original Morgan was replaced later on with another Morgan, obviously the actress, and so it's really nice to see that they were able to have both of them, and we just rolled with it. So a part of me was really excited to see the original cast, and another part of me is like, this is kind of cheesy, kind of unnecessary, and then it makes me mad because I'm like, you did Boy Meets World. How could you let them take that and put them on Disney Channel for your Girl Meets World? Why would you succumb, like all your writing and everything you accomplished with Boy Meets World, the series topics, things that actually were related to, things that meant something, things that were hard to discuss, and just things that mattered, and then you just do Girl Meets World, but you Disneyfy it, and it's just not the same. And so part of me sees that and I get really upset. We then have the scene where Sean is in the room with Katie, and Topanga wants them to help her with the decision because she's unsure about what to do. And in the end, he says, if I hadn't come here, I would have met Katie. And everyone's like, oh, I still don't believe their love. Let's talk about this. Throughout the whole 3 seasons, they've only had like maybe 5 episodes together. In the beginning, Maya said that her mom wasn't present in her life. There's no one to help her do homework. There's no one there to take care of her, to watch her. So when we got all this information about Katie, I was mad. Then the Redditors tried to put her with Sean who deserves love, who should have been with Angela, and they fall in love, and now they're going to be this like great parents to Maya and so present. I just don't believe it. I don't think they have any chemistry. I really don't like Katie. I don't like them forcing it. They wanted someone from Maya, and I can understand that, but he could have just been like an uncle type friend. I really believe that they should have utilized the actress Angela, because I know she could have made more scenes. So I feel like they wasted all those seasons with Sean and Angela, and how much they loved each other, and how much it took for him to open up to her, and how much they had to trust each other, and everything they went through. Like, that was my ship. And so just to discard that for this random Disney couple, that still makes me mad. The only thing that redeems this is that Sean asks Maya if he can adopt her, and I love that story as someone who was a former foster youth. I mean, it's just beautiful to see that someone wants to, you know, be a father figure to Maya. That might not be his kid, you know, blood, but he loves her nonetheless. And I thought that was a sweet storyline despite not believing his love for her mom, Katie. Not only does Sean ask Maya if he can adopt her, but then you have John come in, and who is his teacher. And if you know anything, like, I literally started crying because Sean didn't even have anybody, you know, and he was just mad at the world, and he felt like he had nobody that loved him and confided for him, and he acted out. And John was somebody who cared for him, who deeply loved him and was a father figure to him. And so he says, like, I always regretted not adopting Sean. And that hit me because I remember, and I was thinking to myself, like, just be there for him, just be his father. And But Sean wouldn't be the man he is today if it wasn't for John. We saw that throughout Boy Meets World, and we saw that in this series. And so I'll always remember that scene. And I think that was the most powerful one of the night. In the end, it's Eric who has the best advice. Just listen to your heart. So that's what Topanga does, goes to her quiet place. And then you have the kids back at the cafe, and they're saying goodbye to Riley. And Farkle says that he'll always love Riley. And Riley's like, you shouldn't say that in front of Smackle. And then Smackle's really funny and saying like something really smart. He's like, yeah, you're a threat. I feel like Farkle is in love with Riley. And I feel like bad on the writers for never exploring that, because they've had some deep emotional conversations, and something like that intense is not platonic at all. So if they do get another season or they have a movie in the future, I hope that Farkle and Riley can be together finally. Eventually, Lucas walks out, and Riley and Lucas have their final scene together. They'll always remember that they were their first boyfriend and girlfriend, yada yada yada. I don't feel anything for this, just because, I mean, even when they got together, you had the whole triangle, this whole tension, and then they get together and it's like they're not even together. There's no chemistry, there's no love, there's no like I believe them. So the fact that they're like really sad about this, it's like, dude, you'll get over this. Like, if Riley did end up leaving, you guys wouldn't even remember each other. Then Lucas walks past Maya, and I felt like there was like a scene between them looking at each other. And so if you can't even, if they have more chemistry in that one stare than the whole conversation with Riley, I really don't understand what the writers are on. So then we have Maya and Riley at the bay window saying goodbye to each other. And that was really emotional too. She just, starts crying and saying bye to Riley. And I felt like that was real, because I know people said that when they were watching it live that it was very emotional. So I actually love Maya, and so to see her breaking down like that made me very sad. Eventually we get to Topanga's decision. She ends up deciding not to leave, but there's still a lesson to be learned about all the things that were happening in this episode. And basically they tell the girls, tell their friends that, like, sometimes things are gonna change. The world's a big place. And so Corey ends up, talking about an episode or a past thing that happened, which we know it's from Boy Meets World, with Joss when he was little. And he said, he ends up saying the iconic, like, Boy Meets World, now I get it. And so the girls end up, like, talking to each other, and then Riley says, girl meets world. And then Maya says, now I get it. And so it comes full circle. And that's how it ends. And they say, like, at the end of it, it still ends because it's the end of the series. And that no matter what, that they're going to be there for each other. And then they have their iconic thunder and lightning. And it ends. And so I thought that was really nice of the writers to include those scenes, because it was so powerful when Corey had that scene with Joss. And, he's like, Boy Meets World, now I get it. And so to see the girls to realize that too and to get it was emotional. And even though there's so many things that is wrong with Girl Meets World, and a lot of things that annoy me about certain characters, and how they had to really just downplay every single lesson and episode, there's still many things that I did appreciate from Girl Meets World. So all in all, I don't think it's a memorable ending or a memorable ending to a series. I don't think that should be the end. I think all the fans deserve better. So I really hope that they have another season. I don't know what I would rate this episode. They had a few good moments, but overall, it was just like the rest of the other episodes. So tell me what you thought. What was maybe your most favorite scene of that episode? What are you absolutely gonna miss watching from, this show? And if you love this video, please subscribe, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye!